Trading is a battlefield, but not in the way most people imagine. It's not charts versus traders or bulls versus bears. It's you versus yourself. And nowhere is that more brutally exposed than in the moment you blow up an account. You know the feeling. You've lived it, that pit in your stomach when you see the balance shrink to almost nothing. That icy wave of shame that washes over you when you realize you didn't just lose money, you lost trust in yourself. You crossed lines you swore you'd never cross. You chased losses. You ignored stops. You gambled. You told yourself you'd stop after one more trade, and then another, until suddenly there was nothing left to stop. Confidence doesn't just slip away in moments like this. It collapses. And when it collapses, it takes more than money with it. It takes your belief that you're capable. It steals the fire that once pushed you forward. It leaves you staring at the ruins of your own decisions, wondering if you'll ever be able to rebuild. But here's the truth that too many traders never hear. Blowing up an account is not the end. It's an initiation. A painful, costly, gut-wrenching initiation, but one that every serious trader faces in some form. Behind every consistent trader you admire lies a graveyard of blown accounts, bad trades, and broken confidence. They just don't talk about it. The real difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't whether they've blown up. It's what they did afterward. This is what this journey is about. Not about charts, not about strategies, not even about money. This is about psychology. This is about learning how to sit in the silence after the blow-up, how to face the shame, how to diagnose what went wrong, and most importantly, how to rebuild trust in yourself. Because that's what confidence truly is. Not arrogance, not blind optimism, not hot streaks or lucky runs. Confidence is trust. The trust that when the pressure comes, you'll follow your rules. The trust that you can survive losses without self-destruction. The trust that you can walk away when it's time to walk away. This is not a quick fix. Rebuilding confidence after a blow-up takes time, patience, and humility. It requires you to let go of the illusion of fast money and instead build something slow, steady, and unshakable. It means redefining success, not by profits, but by discipline. Not by dollars gained, but by promises kept. If you're here, if you're listening, it means you faced the blow-up. It means you're sitting in the ashes, wondering what comes next. And the answer is this. What comes next is the real beginning of your trading journey. So let's walk it together. Let's look at the wreckage, not with despair, but with determination. Let's take the pieces of your collapse and turn them into bricks for a stronger foundation. Let's rebuild, not just your confidence, but your identity as a trader. Because this time, you're not just building an account, you're building yourself. Chapter 1. The Shattered Moment. You sit there staring at the screen. It's not just numbers anymore. It's devastation in digital form. That flashing red account balance doesn't feel like numbers on a chart. It feels like judgment. It feels like failure. It feels like your very identity has been placed on trial, and the verdict has been delivered. Guilty. The account is gone, blown up, zero, or close enough to zero that your heart whispers, "You've lost everything that mattered." Your hands are still trembling from the last trade, though it's already finished. A tiny voice in the back of your mind repeats on loop, "I should have stopped. I should have walked away. I should have listened." And yet, you didn't. You doubled down. You chased. You told yourself you could claw back the loss, that one more trade would fix the hole you had dug. But instead, the hole became a crater. Now the silence is deafening. No more trades to enter, no more charts to distract you, just the reality of what you've done and the wreckage it's left behind. Confidence doesn't just crack in a moment like this. It shatters. It explodes into 1,000 sharp fragments that cut at you from every direction. Every thought you have is laced with regret. I'll never recover. I'm not cut out for this. I'm a fool for believing I could succeed. It hurts, doesn't it? Not just financially, not just emotionally, but deeply, in that private corner of your identity where you once believed in yourself. That part of you that whispered, "You can do this, you're capable, you're meant to win." Now it feels like a liar. But here's the hard truth, and also the first truth you need to accept. Blowing up an account doesn't mean you are blown up. The account is gone, but you're still here. You're bruised, but breathing. You're ashamed, but alive. And while your confidence feels like dust right now, confidence can be rebuilt. That's the path we're about to walk together. Rebuilding confidence after blowing up an account isn't about pretending it never happened. It's not about shaking it off with false optimism or diving back in recklessly hoping for redemption. No. Rebuilding confidence is about reconstruction. Slow, patient, deliberate reconstruction. Brick by brick, thought by thought, step by step. But before any rebuilding can begin, you need to stand still in this moment. Feel it. As much as you want to run from it, bury it, or deny it, you can't heal what you refuse to face. So look at the numbers. Look at the empty balance. Look at the mistakes. Don't turn away. Why? Because this scar, this wound, is going to become your teacher. And as painful as it feels now, it can become the foundation of a stronger, wiser, more resilient trader. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel humiliated. It's okay to hate yourself for a while. But know this isn't the end of your story. It's a turning point. And the way you respond right now, the way you process this disaster, will shape whether you rise from it or stay buried beneath it. So let's begin by telling yourself something that feels impossible but is absolutely true. This moment doesn't define you, it refines you. When you blew up your account, you didn't lose your potential. You lost money, you lost confidence, but potential? That's still inside you. It's just waiting for you to rebuild the bridge to it. And rebuilding begins with honesty. No sugarcoating, no excuses, no blaming the market, the news, the broker, the algorithm, the spreads. No, you take ownership. You blew the account because of choices you made. That hurts, but it also means you have control to make different choices next time. Right now, you may feel like you'll never trust yourself again, like every future trade will be haunted by hesitation, fear, or overcompensation. But trust me when I tell you, confidence isn't lost forever. It's just buried beneath the rubble, and if you're willing to dig, you can uncover it again. Yes, you've blown up an account, but what matters more is whether you blow up your belief in yourself. That belief is fragile now, cracked and wavering, but it's still alive. In this journey, we're going to do something powerful. We're going to transform your greatest trading failure into the foundation of your greatest trading strength. We're going to rewire the way you see yourself, the way you handle losses, and the way you define confidence. And it all begins here, in the quiet aftermath of collapse, with one decision. I will not give up on myself. Say it. Even if your voice shakes, even if you don't fully believe it yet, say it. I will not give up on myself. Because as long as you hold on to that, confidence can be rebuilt. And trust me, when it's rebuilt properly, it will be stronger than it ever was before. Chapter 2. The Anatomy of the Blow-Up. You didn't just wake up one morning and blow up your account in a single blind stroke. No, that kind of collapse is rarely sudden. It's a chain reaction, a series of small cracks that, one by one, weaken the structure until finally it can't hold the weight anymore. And when it falls hard. To rebuild confidence, you first have to dissect the anatomy of your blow-up. Not to punish yourself, not to replay the pain endlessly, but to understand. Because what you understand, you can control, and what you control, you can master. So let's be brutally honest here. How did you blow up? Was it revenge trading? That desperate emotional need to get back at the market after a loss, as if the charts owed you something? You know that feeling. You take a hit, and suddenly your brain isn't thinking in probabilities anymore. It's thinking in payback. You tell yourself, I'll show this market, I'll make it back, I'll double my size, I'll win it back faster. And for a moment, the adrenaline makes you feel alive. But you don't see that you're no longer trading the market. You're trading your anger. And anger never wins. Or maybe it was overconfidence. That sweet, dangerous illusion that you were untouchable. You had a string of winners, your account was growing, your ego was swelling, and suddenly risk rules felt optional. Why respect the stop loss when you just know the trade will come back? Why manage position sizing when every setup feels like a sure thing? One trade goes against you, you hold. Another goes against you, you add. Suddenly, the market doesn't care about your hot streak, and reality humbles you in one brutal move. Or maybe it was boredom. Yes, boredom, the silent killer of traders. Hours of watching nothing happen, candles crawl sideways, patience wears thin, and then that little voice whispers, take a trade, any trade, just do something. And so you do. A trade without an edge, a trade without discipline. And the market, ruthless as always, punishes you for gambling. And let's not ignore the most painful one of all, greed. That insatiable urge to not just make money, but to make it fast, to leapfrog the process, to skip the grind, to chase the big score. You saw dollar signs, you saw freedom, you saw a future where trading paid for everything you ever dreamed of. And in chasing it, you ignored the one rule that separates winners from losers: survival. No matter which path led you here, the truth is the same. You blew up because you stepped outside your rules, or maybe you never even had rules to begin with. Let that sink in for a moment. Because confidence isn't lost just because the account vanished. Confidence is lost because deep down, you know you betrayed yourself. You broke your own trust. And rebuilding that trust within yourself is going to be the hardest and most important step of all. Think about it. If a friend betrayed you, would you immediately trust them again just because they said, I'll do better next time? No. They'd have to prove it. They'd have to show it, consistently, over time, until slowly the trust returned. That's exactly what has to happen between you and yourself. You can't just tell yourself, next time I'll follow the rules. You have to rebuild evidence. You have to create a track record, not of profits at first, but of discipline. Only then will confidence start to return. But before we talk about rebuilding, let's finish unpacking the anatomy of this collapse, because you must know the enemy before you can defeat it. The blow-up wasn't just financial, it was emotional. Every tick against you, every dollar lost wasn't just draining your account, it was draining your composure, your rationality, your ability to think. When your nervous system is in fight or flight, logic is gone. And that's exactly what happened. Your trading brain, the calm, rational part that analyzes probabilities, was hijacked by the survival brain. And survival brain doesn't care about probabilities. It cares about escape. That's why you added to losers. That's why you ignored stops. That's why you doubled down when you should have walked away. So here's the hard truth you need to face. Blowing up your account wasn't just about a bad trade. It was about your psychology collapsing under pressure. And if you don't face that, you'll repeat it. That's the scar you carry now. That's why your confidence feels gone, because you've seen yourself break under pressure, and that memory is carved into your mind. Every time you think about trading again, that ghost whispers, "What if it happens again? What if you lose it all again?" But here's the shift. Ghosts don't have to haunt you. They can guide you if you're willing to stare at them instead of run from them. So ask yourself, what's my pattern? Was it anger, greed, boredom, arrogance? Write it down. Make it concrete, because the anatomy of your blow-up holds the map to your recovery. The very mistakes that destroyed your account can become the signposts that save your next one. This isn't about judgment. This is about diagnosis. A doctor doesn't shame a patient for being sick. He studies the symptoms, he finds the cause, and he prescribes the cure. That's what you're doing here. You're diagnosing yourself. And yes, it hurts, but the pain of honesty is the birthplace of growth. So let's call the blow-up what it truly was. Not an ending, but an X-ray. A brutal, unfiltered look at the weak spots in your psychology. And now that you see them, you can begin the slow work of healing them. Because this truth will carry you forward. Traders don't fail because they blow up accounts. Traders fail because they never learn why they blew up. And you, right here, right now, are choosing to learn. Chapter 3. Sitting in the Ashes. There's a strange quiet that follows catastrophe. When the final trade is closed, when the numbers stop moving, when the charts fade into the background and the realization finally lands, it's gone. And now you sit in the ashes, not just of a trading account, but of hope, of pride, of identity. You built something, maybe slowly, maybe carelessly, maybe passionately, and now you're staring at ruins. Here's the part most traders don't talk about. It's not the money that hurts the most. It's the silence afterward. That heavy, suffocating stillness where your mind turns inward and every thought feels like a blade. You hear it, "You're a failure. You're not cut out for this. Look what you've done." And the more you try to silence that voice, the louder it grows. This is where many traders make their second mistake, bigger than the blow-up itself. They rush to escape the silence. They want to trade again tomorrow. They want to fix it. They want to erase the pain by jumping back in. But you and I both know what happens when you act from desperation. You repeat the same cycle. You dig the hole deeper. So I'm asking you to do something uncomfortable. Stay here. Sit in the ashes. Don't rush, don't run, don't numb the pain with distractions. Stay with it. Why? Because confidence doesn't grow by avoiding pain. It grows by facing it, feeling it, and surviving it. This is grief, plain and simple. You lost something real. And grief has stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and eventually acceptance. If you skip them, they don't disappear. They just wait in the shadows, ready to ambush you in your next trade. So let's take this moment honestly. You feel ashamed. That's okay. You feel embarrassed. That's okay. You feel like maybe you've let yourself, your family, your dreams down. That's okay too. Feel it. Because buried inside that shame is the seed of responsibility. And responsibility is the soil from which growth will come. Here's the truth. Every successful trader you admire has sat exactly where you're sitting. Don't believe the polished stories. Don't believe the social media wins. Behind every consistent trader is a history of devastation. Accounts blown, sleepless nights, tears shed in silence. They just don't broadcast it, but it's there. So you're not alone, and you're not broken beyond repair. You're human. You're experiencing what humans experience when they stretch beyond their limits: collapse. Confidence, at its core, is the belief that you can trust yourself under pressure. And right now, you don't trust yourself. That's why sitting in the ashes matters, because this is where you learn humility. This is where you admit, I'm not invincible, I'm not above the rules, I'm not immune to emotion. Humility feels like weakness, but it's not. Humility is the bedrock of confidence. Without humility, confidence is just arrogance waiting to implode. With humility, confidence becomes durable, flexible, unshakable. So breathe. Breathe into the silence. Breathe into the ache. Let it wash over you. Yes, you blew it. Yes, it hurts. But notice something. You're still here. The loss didn't kill you. The shame didn't end you. You're still alive. That's important, because if you can sit in the ashes without running, you're already stronger than you were before. Now let's address the hardest part, self-forgiveness. Right now, you probably don't believe you deserve it. You keep replaying the mistakes, doubling down, ignoring stops, gambling out of boredom. And every replay adds another layer of self-loathing. But listen closely. Forgiveness isn't saying it didn't matter. Forgiveness is saying it mattered, and I accept it happened. I won't carry the weight forever. Think about it. If you had a child learning to walk, and they fell, would you scream at them? Would you say, "You idiot, you'll never walk again"? Of course not. You'd help them up. You'd say, "It's okay, try again." And yet when it's you become crueler than you'd ever be to anyone else. But trading is like walking. You stumble, you fall, you collapse hard, and then, if you forgive yourself, you stand up again, this time wiser about where the ground is uneven. That's what sitting in the ashes is about. It's not about wallowing forever. It's about staying long enough to let the pain teach you, long enough to realize you can survive it, long enough to say, yes, I failed, but failure is not the end, it's the beginning of resilience. Confidence won't come back in a rush. It won't arrive with fireworks. It will come quietly, like a spark in the ashes, the spark of knowing you survived, the spark of knowing you can begin again, the spark of knowing that as dark as it feels, this moment will one day be your testimony of strength. So don't despise the ashes. Don't rush past them. Sit with them, because here in the ashes, you are being rebuilt. And when you rise, your confidence won't just be restored, it will be reborn. Chapter 4. The Rebuild Begins. The ashes are cold now. The silence, while heavy, has softened. The sharp edges of your grief have dulled, and something inside you stirs, a small, fragile thought. What now? That's the moment when rebuilding begins. Not with another trade, not with another deposit, not with a grand plan to make it all back. No, rebuilding starts long before the charts. It starts with you, with your mind, with the way you see yourself and the way you define trading. Let me say this clearly. You cannot rebuild confidence by chasing profits. You rebuild confidence by building habits, brick by brick, rule by rule, action by action. So what's the first brick? Simplicity. You don't need to create a 10-step trading system or invent a complex algorithm. You need to start small. So small that confidence has a chance to grow without being crushed by pressure. Think about it this way. If you wanted to rebuild physical strength after an injury, you wouldn't walk into the gym and try to bench press your old max weight. You'd start with the bar. Light, humble, deliberate. You'd build the foundation first. That's exactly how confidence in trading works. You start light. And here's the truth most traders never want to hear. Your first step in rebuilding might not even involve placing trades. Your first step is discipline training. Sit down with charts, not to trade, but to observe, to watch, to learn, to note patterns without acting on them. This does something powerful. It teaches your brain that you can engage with the market without needing to risk money. It rewires that desperate urge to be in just to feel alive. From there, your next brick is journaling. Yes, journaling. Not glamorous, not exciting, but essential. Write down your thoughts. Write down what triggered your last blow-up. Write down the emotions you felt. Write down the mistakes you see in yourself. Why? Because confidence is built on awareness, and awareness grows when you put thoughts on paper. Then comes the hardest but most important brick, defining your new rules. Not vague promises like, "I'll be more disciplined." No, specific, non-negotiable rules. Rules that protect you from yourself. For example, I will never risk more than 1% of my account on a single trade. I will stop trading for the day after 2 consecutive losses. I will never move my stop loss further away after entering a trade. I will journal every trade I take, whether I win or lose. These rules may look simple, but don't underestimate them. They are not just trading rules, they are trust-building exercises. Every time you follow them, you send a signal to your brain, "I can trust myself again." And that is how confidence begins to rebuild. Because here's the truth. Your last blow-up didn't just destroy money. It destroyed trust. And without trust, there is no confidence. So you must treat every rule you follow as a brick of trust laid into the foundation. Now I want you to imagine this. Instead of chasing a winning streak, what if your first goal was simply this: 30 days of pure discipline? Not 30 days of profits. 30 days where you honor your rules no matter what. 30 days of building self-trust brick by brick. Imagine how different you'd feel at the end of that month. Even if your P&L is flat or slightly down, your confidence will be rising, not because of money, but because of mastery. You'll look at yourself and say, "I can do what I say I will do." And that belief is more powerful than any quick win. But let's be clear, rebuilding won't be glamorous. It will be slow, humble, often boring, and your ego will resist. It will whisper, "Come on, just size up. Just take more trades. Just push harder." That voice is the same voice that blew up your last account. Ignore it, silence it, replace it with patience. Because confidence built slowly lasts. Confidence built on adrenaline shatters. Now, let's talk about one more crucial brick, redefining what success means. Up until now, success meant money, winning trades, green P&L. That mindset is poison to confidence. Why? Because profits are outside your control in the short term. The market decides them, not you. If you tie your confidence to outcomes you don't control, you'll always be at the mercy of the market. So redefine success. Success isn't winning trades. Success is keeping promises to yourself. Success is following your rules, honoring your stops, managing your risk. Success is walking away when the rules say stop. Success is protecting your capital, not gambling it away. That shift, right there, is the heart of rebuilding confidence. When you measure success by discipline instead of dollars, you create a confidence that cannot be taken from you. Because here's the secret. If you master discipline, the dollars will eventually follow. But if you chase dollars without discipline, they'll always slip through your fingers. So here you are, standing in the ruins of your old account, holding the first few bricks of your new foundation. It doesn't feel strong yet. It doesn't feel impressive yet, but that's okay. Every strong foundation begins as a fragile one. What matters is that you're building. And every day you stick to the process, every day you honor the small steps, your confidence grows, not in leaps, but in layers, quietly, steadily. One day, you'll look back at this moment, the day you chose to rebuild, and realize it was the most important trade you ever made. Not a trade with the market, a trade with yourself. A trade that said, I will build a new me I can finally trust. Conclusion. You began this journey in ruins. Your account was gone, your trust in yourself was shattered, and your confidence felt like it had been erased forever. You sat in the silence, faced the shame, and confronted the raw truth of why you blew up. It wasn't the market, it wasn't bad luck, it was you, your emotions, your decisions, your lack of rules. That truth hurt, but it also became the key, because the moment you accepted responsibility, you took back power. Brick by brick, you began rebuilding, not with reckless trades, not with desperate deposits, but with habits, with rules, with discipline. You redefined success, not as money, but as self-mastery. You chose to measure yourself not by profits, but by whether you could keep the promises you made to yourself. And slowly, steadily, that choice began to rebuild your confidence. At first, it was fragile, a whisper more than a roar, a spark more than a flame. But you nurtured it. Each day you honored your stop-loss. Each day you followed your rules. Each day you walked away instead of chasing. You laid another brick. And with every brick, the trust grew stronger. Now you stand here not as the trader who blew up an account, but as the trader who survived it, as the trader who refused to let failure be the final chapter, as the trader who turned collapse into foundation. Understand this: confidence isn't about never falling. Confidence is about knowing you can rise again. It's not about avoiding pain. It's about learning from it. It's not about arrogance or certainty. It's about trust. Quiet, steady trust in yourself. Will you blow up again? Not if you honor the lessons you've lived. Will you lose again? Yes, losses are part of the game. But this time, losses won't break you. This time, losses won't trigger spirals of revenge or desperation. This time, losses will be absorbed by the structure of discipline you've built. That's the real power of this journey. Not that you'll never stumble, but that you now know how to stand back up. So take one last look at where you began, at the ashes, at the silence, at the wreckage of your old account. And then look at where you are now, standing taller, stronger, humble but unshaken, wiser but still willing to grow. This is the rebirth of confidence. The market will test you again. It will whisper temptations. It will lure you with greed, trigger you with anger, bore you into recklessness. But you now know the truth. Confidence isn't given by the market. It's built inside you. And as long as you protect it, as long as you honor your process, no loss can take it away again. So go forward, trade again, not to get it all back, but to walk the path you've rebuilt. Trade not with fear, not with desperation, but with patience, with clarity, with trust. Because you are not the trader who blew up an account. You are the trader who rebuilt confidence from nothing. And that, more than any profit, more than any winning streak, is the mark of a true trader.